of his preference too, man. It's like what you like, what you into, all that
I
type of
just
stuff.
go
I don't.
I just go with numbers to be honest with you.
Yeah, bro.
In the eras. And I'd always say, from back in the day when you look at MJ playing, there's nobody at his position that could really stop him, athletically speaking. They
And
were they were all behind. All the guys that were like you can see like the dunk contest was the big man.
yeah,
There was no guard.
you know what else I
No
feel when it
guard.
comes to that? Like a lot of those guys in the '90s couldn't even guard a left or right crossover, bro. Like Jordan couldn't even guard
Especially the
it.
big man. Especially the big man. When you look at the big man, when it was a pick and roll, they couldn't move their feet. I look at the tape of Boston, and
This one? Yes. Okay.
I look at the tape of Boston, and you see Kevin McHale on the pick and roll, could not move his feet.
Couldn't move, bro.
So the famous like between, and
Yeah.
then he shot the ball. That MJ did that.
Yeah.
You look at the defense. I'm like, bro,
They were following the ball,
what kind
bro.
of defense is that? I'm like, they literally let him do whatever.
Bro, like I'm telling you, like people say, Craig and I, we had this argument about the eras, and I said the 2000 era trumps the. Okay, we ready, bro?
I think it's the toughest one. I think it's the toughest one though.
Yeah, 2000.
Nah, the
on, bro.
2000 with that draft with Vince Carter,
Come on,
T Mac, Kobe, Stojakovic, and all the stuff like that.
95, 96.
I'm just saying that year 2000.
Michael Jordan can't guard it.
Look, all the guys are going to say, no, Penny Hardaway is 2000.
Yeah. No, he 93.
98, 99.
Shaq
Is it 99?
92.
It's
Listen.
99.
Listen.
But when
man.
he was like the best guy, it was like early
Mike-
2000.
Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
Michael Jordan couldn't guard a crossover. All right, let's get back. We gotta do the show, man. We can talk about this later. All right, Rob, just calm down, bro.
I don't even know Penny Hardaway to be honest. What year he got there? I was capping like crazy. I wasn't sure.
Go ahead. Lights, camera, action.
Pressing through the story, Alexi, man, and now we at the NBA. So we talked a little bit about the draft. We talked about how you felt about being drafted, some of the nice moments being there with your guy. A whole new life is now starting for you, right?
Right.
We can always talk about the highs of being a professional basketball player, but tell me about some of the lows. Tell me about some of the challenges. Did you get homesick at a certain point? Tell me about some of the challenges that you faced, and it could be on court or off the court in your first couple years.
The challenges is like it was completely different, like as far as the game was different, lifestyle was different, and at the time nobody told me, hey, this is how you can do stuff outside the court, like how you can open a bank account and stuff like that. I didn't know how to do nothing.
When you got that first direct deposit, did you look at your bank account and say, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yeah. So then I look at it was like it was just like those papers that you have all the bank statements stuff like that. I looked at it and I saw like a big statement with like a lot of numbers, a lot of zeros. I was like, Jesus, this is crazy. Mind you, in France, my paycheck was like 3,000 euros
every month.
And I go to the NBA and I see all the zeros, and then I keep on scrolling down, and I was like, final cut is like way less zeros. I was like, wait a minute, what just happened? They're like, what is that? And it was like all the tax. I had to ask my teammate, is that right? And they were like, yeah, it makes sense. I was like, well,
I thought I signed for X amount of dollars, but hey, man, why are these people taking my money? Do all these fees? No,
that's exactly what happened. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. And I thought it was like, they take the taxes on, the full amount, not just every single month. So it was just like simple stuff that I struggled with every day-to-day life. And then I didn't know how to speak good English at the time. I have very stronger accent. And then I got a homesick because I got in the league. I was 20 and I moved here by myself.
Okay.
So I had no family and everything. So my family was literally just coming for Christmas, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was hard to be able to understand the coach and everyday life.
What are vets active in helping you through certain processes on the team, like your vets that
Honestly,
first couple years?
nah, nah, because I mean at the time it's a different era. So at the time, like the players was not really into like trying to think for the future,
All right.
like for business and stuff like that. But like guys just like to do their own thing,
Yeah.
and they didn't bring the young guys into it.
Ah,
Now they teach me how to be handling the girls and everything.
okay, yeah.
But then as far as business was completely different. So I was like, okay, well, I ended up being a little bit by myself on that.
Right.
But I did have like Justin Richardson that helped me at the beginning.
Jay Rich.
Yeah, because when you get drafted, and I think you get like a little bonus at the time, and they
Yep.
give you $50K to be able to get your life together, so a house and cars
Alright,
and stuff
alright.
like that. So I didn't know when I was gonna get my first paycheck, and I went through that money quick, and I was like, because I had to get a apartment, open statements, and I'm in banks, and then get a
Furniture.
car, furniture,
Yeah.
everything went quick, and I didn't have nothing crazy. My first car was a Dodge Charger.
Okay.
So it was nothing.
Yeah,
like-
probably 30K or something.
Yeah,
like that,
nothing crazy. So I was like, hey, I had to ask him to loan me some money, because I was like,
Jay Rich.
yeah, he came through and loaned me $10K.
Yeah, I'm
think I
sure
gave him.
he had plenty.
Yeah, I think I gave him more after that, because I gave him like 12 or something like that.
Okay.
Just because he helped me out.
Yeah, put some
and
interest on it.
and then he didn't sweat about it. I was like, here, there is work. I was like, all right. Thanks.
Man.
I like thanks, and then that was big for him to do that. But yeah, it's just little stuff that I struggle with.
But the crazy thing about the NBA right now, man, and I mean you're not in the league right now because you've taken another step. But the thing about the NBA right now is they're running out all of the vets. So a lot of these teams, the oldest player on the team, he's 27. Like what?
Yeah.
Like how are you gonna help the 18-year-olds come in?
Yeah.
And get. I mean, are you going to place all the responsibility on the coaching staff? Or are you going to place it on the franchise? Like what? Like why don't you have a guy like Udonis Haslem?
Right.
And just even if he's not in the rotation, I'm sure having him there will change the locker room completely. But they're running these guys
agree.
out of the league, man.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I decided to retire.
Okay.
I was coming back from injury. I was still like in great shape, and I still can kick a lot of people's ass even if I play right now.
Hey,
Shut
listen,
up.
we ready for the 2-on-2 tournament this weekend. What's up? I'm still in shape.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I was like, they stopped calling, overseas calling, and I was like, well, I kind of left that lifestyle, overseas lifestyle,
Okay.
to the side, because I didn't want to be away from my kids.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not. That's it. I can't do it. So I was like, if they're not calling, it's fine with me. Like I had a great run, and it is what it is. But I agree. I think they should just keep like a older guy in the team, 1 or 2, just to show them how it's supposed to be run. And be able to help them outside of basketball as well.
That's the big part, man. I mean, a lot of you see it online. Like a lot of young players, man, they are wilding.
Yeah.
Posting a lot of wild stuff online. Ugh, you would probably be able to tell me better than anyone else, man. Like just how it's like it's a hidden code.
Yeah.
Just keep it off the internet.
I agree.
Because you're gonna mess it up for all of us, because you out here wilding. So yeah, that's what I feel like the vets are, important. That's why they are very important in a locker room, and that's why I asked you about it.
I mean, you see it now with the Grizzlies.
Hey, a lot of people are talking about how the Grizzlies are wilding right now.
Yeah,
Alexis.
they're wilding online and on
Like,
Instagram,
wilding.
on Twitter and stuff like that. So they do need like a vet to be able to come in and trying to gather them and say, hey, be focused on the right thing.
Yeah, and they got a nice team, so you would hate to see the team be, tarnished by just
Nonsense. Yeah.
nonsense, bro. Stuff that has nothing to do with the game.
I agree.
Yeah, man. So we're pushing through, man. Also, this is a question I really wanted to ask you, man. Like, when you come into the NBA as a first round pick, you have a lot of responsibilities. You have this, you have that. You get paid a nice salary. How did you manage to keep away from the sharks? Because here in America, they post your salary on the internet. They don't really do that in Europe. Like you
really
can't
don't.
find people's salary. They play EuroLeague. If they play First League France,
Right.
Pro A or whatever, you don't see people's salaries online. But over here, as soon as you saw the salary, they like boom.
Yeah.
This is how much money he's making.
Yeah.
So how did you avoid the sharks and people just trying to poach you and get this and get that? Was it difficult for you? Did you have somebody to step in on your behalf and say, yo, hold up, stay back? How do you navigate those waters?
It was hard. It was hard because
And people always gonna tell you can make $1 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
Invest in this.
You always got like the friend of somebody that you know and be like, hey, I got this amazing idea that can work. And you get burned sometimes. I got burned like probably one good time.
Okay.
And I learned from it.
Okay, so you just
I learned from there, and then I was just like be careful who I was trusting with my money, and I got burned by my financial advisor.
oof,
So
that's
it was cool because it was the
common
beginning
issue.
of my career. It was my first contract, so I didn't lose a lot.
All
So
right.
it was fine with me. Still pissed me off because I lost money, but at the end of the day, like I just be careful who I was trusting with my money in business. So I just started being more into it and basically learn more because they put you in this league, they get you a big contract, and and I see all the time. You see like a lot of people, most of the American players that make it into the league, most of the time come from the hood, and they get like a lot of money, and then they have family members, cousins, and stuff like that that leech. They're just there say and make you feel bad because you don't pay for this stuff. You don't give them cars or house.
They call it a survivor's remorse.
Yeah,
So
and
you
then
made it
a lot
out,
of guys
yeah.
don't know how to say no, and they feel guilty because they feel like they own them something, So, and we had like conversation to be able like, hey, you got to learn how to say no and learn from it, because otherwise you're gonna be one of those stories and be like, hey, this guy end up being
Yeah.
broke because of his family, and this mental issues and stuff like that, because it works on your mental, because now you always got like family members and friends that's
man, you
always in
always
your
on
ear.
edge. Yeah.
You're always on edge. You're not fully focused on your basketball, and so everybody has different problems in their life. So you always got to be careful and mindful who you trust and who you have around, because you can go down any time. So that was the only thing that I was mindful of, who I was around and who I was trusting with my money, and not just that, like who I was going out with. Because again, like
The
it's
homies
so
can
many
get you hemmed up,
stories.
bro.
Yeah, so many stories, and I saw it all so many times. Also, guys, their friends got them in a situation that they should not even be in,
Yeah.
because they didn't do no drugs and they didn't do no drinks and everything, but their friends was.
Yep.
They were doing that.
Getting in fights and all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, so now I'm getting in fights and stuff like that. Now their friend names, they're not in the newspaper. The guy is, now his reputation go down. Now he's losing deals because of it.
Teams are scared to sign you because
Teams
they
are
feel
scared
like
to sign you because
you
that's
got
what
red
it is.
flags. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think that you learn, man. You learn, and this is something that I learned growing up too. You learn the power of no.
Exactly.
And what I've came to learn is that no has your yeses and your nos are currency, right?
Right.
And the thing is, if you keep saying yes all the dang time, when it's time for you to say yes to yourself, you don't have anything left.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, I think for a lot of people, I don't think you should be like, frigid or, I don't think you should be cold, but I think no's are important,
I agree.
because it'll give you an opportunity to be ready for when that opportunity comes and say, okay, yeah, we're going to do this. And, for you, maybe you didn't quantify it in that way, but you started to say that you learn from getting burnt. A lot of guys, they just, oh man, well, maybe I can make 100K over here. I mean, 100 million over here. They do the same thing again,
Well, so, it's more like, don't necessarily just trust people with everything. Trying to, get all the information. Hey, how's that work? Question everybody. Hey, how's that work? How's the money work? Do your research. Learn from your business that if somebody wants you to invest you in it. Just ask them a simple question. What is the business plan? Most of the guys that around that said I have a good idea is like they don't have a business plan.
Yeah, right.
So that's out of the question. Well, once you get your business plan, come back to me. Yeah. That's one way to say no.
And they never really come back.
They never really do because business plan is some is easy to do, some is hard to do. And it takes time to do the real business plan. So they're not necessarily going to do it. So they're not serious with that. You're already out of the question that, And I learned with, the MBPA that we had done some meetings and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, here's the line that you can say, hey, I talked to my financial advisor. He advised me that it was not a good move for me right now because I'm tired of a lot of business that I'm investing.
Yeah.
And I use that line all the time. It was perfect. But it was just like most of the time it's just the business ideas just don't make any sense.
Yeah, man. So for me, man, like, I didn't make it to the NBA, but I understand being a professional athlete, man. And I also understand that a lot of what we do, people think is just, they only see the results. So when we go out there and play, whether we are playing well or not, they see the result. They don't see us going through mental issues, during the season, struggling at times, man, but still showing up to play. They don't hear all of the crazy stuff that these, that fans may say to you. They don't.
There's so many guys that went through stuff like that, that famous interview with AI said, we talk about practice. The day before, he just lost his friend that just got shot. That's the only thing you think about is just my friend, I grew up with, just died. Yeah. And then you over here talking about practice. That's why he's saying that.
And the fact that he had to go back and explain.
We don't know that. Yeah. And we all think about, he don't care about the game. He don't it's like a lot of players going through that, and for example, for me in 2010, I lost the cousin of my mom, my grandfather, and my dad in 3 months. God dang, man. And then it was national team. And that when that whole thing happened,
you still had to perform.
So then I was deciding to not play. I was like, listen, I'm done playing. I just gonna be with my family. I'm done going back to the league. I'm done.
Yeah.
Then I was like, let me just go with the national team, and I just trying to forget about it by just being focused in basketball. But what I was doing is just pushing my problem to the side instead of dealing with it. So then every day for a long period of time, that's what I was dealing with. Because I had like my mental issues. I was just thinking about, listen, I just lost everybody that I care about in that period of time. And 40 days after my dad passed, his uncle died.
God dang, man.
And I was like, every time it was like, remind me that old people that I care about just die. And then I had to go in there.
And you were over here.
Yeah.
You weren't even home.
And then I was in Dallas at the time. And then we were doing a run to go and win the championship. Mm-hmm. So then I ended up being traded in February, and then Dallas ended up winning the championship. I ended up being with the worst team at the time, which was the Toronto Raptors. They had like 17 wins when I got there.
Jesus.
And I was like, I go around, bounce around. I was going through everything in life, and I was away from my family. I was by myself in America, by myself in Canada at the time. And I had my girlfriend at the time. We ended up being my wife. And, me and her were going through it because of what I was going through mentally. So it was just, it was too much dealing with.
Could you not find the words at that time to, like, say to her, like, listen, I'm struggling? Like, so for me, right, like, it's really interesting to hear your story. I dealt with something similar. So in about 1.5 years,
right.
Lost my grandfather, mother, grandma. So I lost my mom in 2013 in March. My grandma died in November.
Sorry
so
to hear that.
When I lost my grandfather, we were actually preparing for the playoffs. No, the playoffs. So my mom called me about my grandfather, and the playoffs were approaching. he passed, bro, we had to play a 5-game series. Dude, I play like crap.
Right.
I play like crap, man. I couldn't handle it. And then, you know, we fast forward to 2013, my mom passes, and then for me, I almost stopped playing.
Right.
And the only reason that I played again is because I felt like I had to.
Right.
Because basketball has always been my refuge. You know, like anytime that I was feeling down or whatever, I just go to the gym and work out.
Right.
And then I would be working out, and I would get a chance to sweat and do whatever I got to do. But at the end of it, I feel refreshed. You know what I mean? So basketball has always been that for me.
That's the only time where we don't think.
You can't think.
Yep.
If you really about it, bro, once you cross that line, once you step on the court, you got to perform.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so for me, it's always been a safe haven for me. And again, man, a lot of people only see the finished product.
Yeah.
They don't understand. Like, we
They don't
human.
know.
Like, we dealing with some crap. It could be situations with girlfriends, wives, kids, family, money, this, that. All it's 11,000 things going on. But when those lights come on, gotta perform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They only see the nice stuff that comes out. You know, yeah, I got nice cars, got a nice house, I got a nice lifestyle. But, you know, it's a lot of downside. There's a lot of stuff that comes with it.
Yeah, it's
you know, like roaches that's around you that want money and all the regular day-to-day life. You know, everybody go through something except that you got time to be able to mourn the person that you just lost. You know, and as a professional athlete, you don't have the time.
Don't have time.
Because they give you like, for my dad, they give me like 4 days. And then I was like, okay, we need you to come back to the national team. And I was like, I don't want to come to the national team. You know, I was like, I'm done.
4 days?
Yeah.
And then your dad? Yeah.
You know, it was like national team not playing. I was crying on the court. I was like, I can't play. And
Yeah.
I couldn't do nothing.
It's so crazy.
So it was
man.
just like
I had that first playoff game that I was telling you about, dude. Like at tip off, bro, I was crying.
yeah,
Like,
and that's what I'm
it
saying.
was-
Like, you know, like
it sucked, bro.
it's a lot of stuff that comes with being an athlete that a lot of people don't think of. You know, like, but the mental health is really big. You know,
Yeah.
like it's big, and I think where me it was a turnaround is when I started to have a mental coach, and I was
All right.
in 2013. I started hire a mental coach.
So you actually accepted the help, because a lot of people, man, they like, we always want to feel like we're great and
Yeah.
we're not ready to. So you actually welcome some.
Well,
some
the
help.
way it happened is like when I was in academy, we had the same guy, the mental coach that
Oh,
come
gotcha.
and help
All right.
us.
All right.
So that was big at the time, and stay focused on what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up being there for another player in the team.
Okay.
So just talking to him, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go and talk to you. And then all we did was just like be able to prepare me more for the court. We didn't necessarily talk about what was going on in my life. We talked a little bit, but it was mostly like getting prepared on the court. Once I retired and everything was going left and right in my life, I was like, you know what, I need professional help. So I went and go and get a real therapist, be able to function and do stuff. Because otherwise, I think it's mostly in our community, you know, the black community here in the U.S. is strong like that, but it's all around the world.
Yeah.
When we black, we just feel like going to see a therapist, it makes us feel like, oh, you're crazy.
Or you're weak.
You're weak. And especially when you talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, when a man talk about his feelings and stuff like that, it's considered as weak. So
Yeah.
when we just take everything ourselves, don't necessarily talk about our struggles, and we talk about with our boys, but our boys are not therapists.
No,
right?
no,
So
no.
it's different. So that's why it's like it's dope to be able to go see the professional help and embrace that. We know like remorse and feel like it's type of taboo about it.